C-Topher Central. It's the place to be. Enjoy yourself, why don't you? Woohoo! Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to C-Topher Central. Today, I'm going to get right into it. We're talking about the fair. Actually, I'm not going to get right into it because I want to first explain that I did not release this episode last Saturday because I fell down the stairs. And so, drawing conclusions, you can see that I was not in the right headspace to do this. But I'm here now, and that's what's most important. So, with that being said, let's jump right into it. La, 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 la. You can't even lie. That was a pretty nifty transition. But, anyway, first things first, when it comes to the fair, you got to think about how you're going to get there. And there comes the rhyming. But, seriously though, the drive. Where I live, in comparison to the fair, it's not a trip down to the store, I'll tell you that much. It's a bit of a drive. And once you get there, you're not even there yet because you have to navigate the traffic and you have all the people coming in and coming out at the same time. That whole jamboree of events. But it's okay because that's the best part if you really think about it. Because as you're sitting there in your car, looking off into the distance, thinking, look, do you see that? It's the fair. We're almost there. And now you're thinking about all the fun things you're going to do, and you're hyping yourself up. And you're looking at all the houses with the cars parked all along the side of them so that people can just park here and walk and save time on the trip, even though they're going to have to walk far. And then you're thinking about the people's homes who live there, and they're like, they can't go anywhere because they're stuck in traffic because they happen to be right next to the fair. So they're kind of stuck, but it's okay. Because right now we're focused on the fair and the excitement that comes with being almost there. That was an intentional rhyme. It's a nice sensation. As you pull into the giant... Actually, hang on. I think there's multiple places to park. But for me, in my experience, I've always parked... I say me like I drove. But my family has always parked in this giant green field, and this field has like some sport thingies like fences, and there was like a tetherball pole, like, it looked like an abandoned school, but it was a giant field, and that's where all the cars park. At least that's where we parked. And then we'd park like somewhere far away from the actual entrance, and we would walk all the way to said entrance, navigating between all the other cars who were trying to park and or pull out. It's a fun thing. It's a fun experience. Trust me, because it only gets better from there. It only gets better, I promise you. La, 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 la. It's time for you to conceptualize with me. So imagine you're going through the gates, right? You're entering into the fair. You see in front of you tents with security people in baskets. And they're, letting you go through. You put your bag on the table, you walk through the thingy-majigger, and then you get your stuff and you go on through, right? That whole system, that whole ordeal, right? You scan your ticket. Yeah, I'm here. I'm at the fair. Woohoo. Have a good day, ma'am. Have a good day, sir. Have fun, guys. Whoever you're going with, whoever you are, right? They're going in. It's time. And as you arrive, you look out and you see, in all of its glory, the taffy stand from 1927. At least I think it's 1927, but you see the taffy stand. And that's how you know that it's time. You're at the fair. Oh, and I suppose while you're there, you also see a bajillion people all around you. Some buildings, some food stands, some clothing stores, all the fun jazz. Woohoo! Right. It's all a part of the atmosphere of the fair. It's a beautiful thing. And you see, in my experience, I've taken the same path every single year around the entire fair. I always go in the exact same path unless I'm going to the bathroom. But it's just something I've done. I don't know why. It wasn't intentional. It's just kind of where my interest leads me. We start by going down the long street, walking past this taffy booth since 1927. I'm just gonna keep saying 1927, even if it's wrong. What are you gonna do about it? And over the years, it's interesting seeing how this single stretch of the street has evolved and changed. I remember when I was younger, it used to have some cooling fans that they would like kind of blow misty water at the people if you wanted to cool down, because it's hot. It's hot. It's outside. It's summertime, or yeah, summertime. It's ooh wee. It's hot out there, and if you're not wearing a hat, well, you better have sunscreen lotion. Or is it sunscreen lotion? It's suntan lotion. You better have sunscreen, aka suntan lotion. Yes, there we go. That's what it's called. Sunscreen lotion. But anywho, you walk down the street, you take a right. You could also take a left, but I will get on that later. For now, this is what I typically do. I take a right. We walk past all of these beautiful stores. Okay, perhaps beautiful is a strong word, but stores that definitely would capture my interest, as at this point in the journey, you're a little hungry, you're a little hungry, and depending upon the time you go, the sun will beat down on you, and it's like, wow, I smell all of the beautiful food. Yes, beautiful this time. I smell all of the beautiful, enchanting, what's another word? Captivating, that's not even the word. Regardless, I smell the food and I'm hungry. We have hot dogs, lemonade, lemonade, a lot of lemonade. There is a lot of lemonade stands. Fries, turkey legs, kebabs, shish kebabs to be specific. Jacuzzis. That's not food, but jacuzzis are there. I can't think of it. Oh yeah, and a lot of desserts. We have funnel cakes, deep fried Oreos, regular Oreos, slushies, ice cream. Only 2 flavors, so I've seen. Vanilla and chocolate. Elephant ears. You got some deluxe fries. You got donut burgers. I don't know if they still have those. I had that one time. It was, I'm just going to say don't get it. Just don't get it. I'm just going to tell you that. Do not get the donut burger. Do not get the donut burger. But it was there. Dippin' Dots. Woohoo! Dippin' Dots. Oh, yes. Dippin' Dots are so great. And that's just the surface. Actually, that might not be. I think it's a good summary of all the food that they serve there. A lot of barbecue, a lot of fried food, and some stuff. Now, there are restaurants, I think. I'm pretty sure there's like bars and indoor places to eat. But I'm not 21 yet. So I never really delved into that side of the fair. But it's okay. So we're on this stretch of the street, right? We took a right, we went in, we took a right, and we're walking past all these places to do things, right? Every year, that's not true. Ever since 3 years ago, every year afterwards, there we go, I have always seen some sort of hat, some sort of outfit that pertains to my clothing that I've really, really, really wanted. And of course, when you go to the fair, you already know you're spending money. You already know that. You hopefully set money aside in advance, long in advance, because you knew that you were not coming out without spending at least $40. And so I would see more often than not a hat, and I would really, really, really want this hat, but it would be like $20. So what I always did was that I'd save $20, at least $20, or I guess however much the hat cost. And then after I did all my Funfair activities, I would go back to the thing on the way out and buy the hat and be happy. Now, one thing I must address before we move on to the next section. Is that there is an area in the same street that leads to the next thing. There is a whole area, grass, museum, little kids play place, animals, all that fun stuff that involves, like, I suppose, the culture. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. It's the more cultural side. There is a bridge. This bridge connects this, we'll say, the cultural side, which is where all the entrance stuff is, and some other things I'm about to tell you about. And then the rest of the, fair, like the amusement parks and the rides and all that fun jazz, right? It's connected by a bridge. So, with these animals, I'm just going to say it. Barnyard animals smell terrible. They smell terrible. Mainly the cows. And it's not every day you see a cow poop and then step in the poop. It's not every day you see chickens fight each other. It's not every day that you see some cows and some horses and some pigs and some turkeys. And don't get me wrong, they're interesting. Like, I can tolerate the stench, but it's really humbling to think about it. You know, a lot of us, I can't say a lot, I will say there are people who more on the city side of things, the suburban, house, apartment kind of side of life, and there's more country folks, and it's nice to be able to see and experience different sides of Indiana, you know, because animals and livestock, Indiana's like the place of corn, so we have a lot of farms going on, and while most of those farms may be corn and soybean farms, we still have some livestock here and there, and it's nice to be able to experience that coming from me, the boy who lives in a house in the suburbs, and I don't own a pet at this moment in time. So I think that's pretty interesting, along with the museum area. And I'm also going to be honest here, I didn't go to the museum that often. I used to go a lot when I was younger, the little area, but I suppose it just wasn't as interesting. And you see it once and I was done. That's just me. That's just me, though. That's just me. Now, there are also concerts. There's usually some sort of band playing music or something of the sorts. I don't have a lot of experiences with concerts, but on my last trip, I did go by the concert on the way to the bathroom, and I stood there for a hot minute and took in the environment. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. They were singing some pop culture songs, but like in their voice, and people were singing along and having fun and jumping around, and it was a nice environment. I say all this to say that the fair is a nice way to bring people together from different cultures and different backgrounds and different hobbies and pleasures, and it's all in one space. There's something for everybody. Also, on my last trip, there was this new section that I never saw before, which there's two. I'm thinking the other one later. But for this one I'm talking about right now, it was like an outdoor board game area. They had ping pong and chess and foosball. Well, I guess chess is only board game, but you get what I'm saying. It was like a rec room. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So it's interesting seeing how the fair develops every year and becomes more and more captivating to the different audiences and generations. La 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 la. Picking up the pace a bit, we go across the bridge. Okay, it's a bridge. It's a dark brown bridge, and it's really big. And I mean, there's not much to say other than it connects the cultural side of the fair to the fun amusement park side of the fair. Fun is subjective, but yes. Cool, we cross the bridge, right? And as we stare out amongst the horizon, we see a different kind of environment. We see the games, the screaming kids as they're flying around in a circle on the roller coaster, thinking they're gonna die. They're not. We see the dreaded crime alley. I'll get more on that in a second. We see even more food. Even more food. Food for days, food for months, food for millennia. And most of all, we see more people. There's so many people. Every 4 seconds, you're gonna bump into somebody. It's so many people. We hear the games doing their game distance with the noise and the beeps and the boops. We hear it all. We hear it all. That is this area. That is this. And Crime Alley. Let me tell you about Crime Alley. Chris, what is Crime Alley? I'm glad you asked. Crime Alley is what I call the little stretch of games, right? Where they have all of these super easy tasks like throwing the dart at the balloon and popping it, or shooting the basketball, or squirting the little thing with the water gun and then it like, yay! Like that, those things, or the hitting it with the hammer and then the bell. The people who like guess your birthday, or what else? What else is silly? The fish game. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, the fish game. When I was younger, every year I went to the fair. I always did the fish game. And at first I got a little fish. His name was Goldie. His name was Goldie the fish. He was a goldfish. And the thing about the fair fish is that they are born to die. And they don't live long. And it's sad. But of course, it was my first year at the fair at the time. So I didn't know this. To me, it was like, oh my gosh, if I do this, I'll win a fish. Oh, wow, that's a whole fish. Wow. So I took my little fish. I took him home. We went to Bill's pet shop, the pet shop. Uncle Bill's, I forgot the name. Dang. It might be Uncle Bill's. Either way, I went to the pet shop, got a fish bowl, got some water, got some rocks, had the fish, loved the fish, and I had him for about 2 weeks, perhaps. Fed him every day, loved him to death, and then one day he died, and it was sad. What my mom didn't tell me until recently was that fish had died, I think, 3-4 times before, and she had to rush to the pet store and replace it. And I mean, that right there should kind of give you the sense of how evil the fish game is, and just how evil Crime Alley is in its entirety. For they are not just stealing your money. Oh, no, 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 no. They are also stealing your child's precious emotional time. You know how long it took for me to get over that fish? I don't. And I barely remember. But I guarantee you, I did not take the death of my fish lightly. And they just give these fish out to kids. Yeah, here, you want a fish. And the kid thinks, wow. Now, after that first experience with the fish, and I went back and got another fish next year, I realized that, okay, these fish are born to die. And I came to this conclusion, and I was a little less upset about it. I remember one year I caught, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 fish from one day, from the fish game. I got 6 fish. Let me tell you what happened. They all perished before the day ended. I think the last fish kicked the bucket at 8 p.m. at night. And that same day. I found that kind of amusing. Not that they died, but just because it was like they died so fast. But I'm getting distracted, obviously. Crime Alley as a whole is stupid. When I grow up, and if I have kids, and I take them to the fair, I am not going through that Crime Alley, because why am I paying 10, 20, 15 bucks, any number more than 3, just for my kid to either lose and then get the dumb, well, at least you tried, or the dumb, here, take a little plastic ball toy that you're going to lose in 2 minutes. That was $15. I paid $15 for essentially a plastic ball. Like, no, that's stupid. And then you have all these big prizes. Like, I wonder how on earth anyone could ever win those things. I don't think you do. I think you just ask for it and then you pay them even more money and then they just give it to you. Cause like, I don't understand. So that's Crime Alley. It's not a fun place to be. But what is fun is the rides. That's where the fun is at. You can't be cheated on a ride. I mean, the price is okay, but like in terms of the experience, you can't exactly put a dollar amount in experiences. So the rides are better, which is usually what we do every year. I'm gonna list off a few of my personal favorites throughout my years, and a list, not list. I'm gonna tell you about one specific ride that I've had some experience with. I'll say that. I have a nemesis, and it is this ride right here. But first, um, let's see. I would have to say that my top three rides out of my entire fair experience would have to be number one. Um, well, hang on. How am I quantifying this? In terms of enjoyment, I will say that. In terms of enjoyment, I'm gonna have to say I don't know what it's called, but it's the ride, and it has like a bunch of mice. It's like a mice themed ride, and it kind of like jerks you back and forth, up and down. I forgot what it's called. I'm gonna have to look it up later and tell you in a future episode if I even care. But yes, it's that one. Why do I like it? Because it's silly. It's a silly little theme, and you look at it from like the ground, and you're like, "Oh, that ain't too bad." Why are they screaming? It's really not that bad. And I mean, it's not. It's the fair we're talking about. It's not like Kings Island or anything. It's really not that bad. But it's more intense than what you would think it would be, just from like standing there on the ground observing it. And they kind of jerk you back and forth, and they turn you around, and it's like, whoa, I wasn't ready for that. I'll tell you this: I used to be a really, really, really bad screamer when it came to rides and roller coasters. At first, I couldn't handle them, like the big boy roller coasters. The kinds you would see at Kings Island, where it's like the Diamondback or the Orion or those wood roller coasters, the Racer, all those things. Yeah, you already knew that I was screaming. Like I was one of those kids, and then I got better because I eventually kind of learned the turns and understood. Okay, this is what's happening, and yada 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 yada. Right. Cool. Yay me, development. This ride did not. It did not make me scream. I'm gonna say that now. I did not scream, but it did make me gasp because I wasn't ready for it. Because I was talking trash about it while I was on the ground. This ride sucks. Ain't that scary? Ain't that bad? Yeah, people screaming for nothing. Nah, da 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 da. Ba 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 ba. And then I get on and I'm like, okay. All right. Ooey. So yeah, that's number one. Number two. I'm gonna say not I didn't enjoy this ride, but I have a very, 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 very strong relationship with it. It is the ride, which I also don't know its name, I'm sorry, but you go upside down basically. It's a circle, you just go upside down over and over again in a circle, and there's a dude at the bottom. It's a control panel, and they're just kind of like hitting the buttons, making it go upside down or left and right, and then they like keep it upside down. It's that ride. That ride I hated because I think it was the first ride that I ever like was upside down for any period of time. Because I've been to Kings Island. I've been on some roller coasters where you go upside down, but it's like a quick little loop de loop. Whoop whoop whoop. It's over, right? You're just going in and out. But no, with this ride, someone is in control and they can just intentionally have you dangle upside down. I think that's evil. That's evil. Just as evil as Crime Alley. Just as evil. Because me, who you already know, I was screaming when I was on this ride. I started to slip. I started to slip out of the seat when I was upside down. I tell you, the fear that like, ooh, gives me chills thinking about it. Oh my gosh. I started to slip out. I felt my butt rise from the seat, and I was like not fully secure because of the bar. I don't know. It was just not. It was not a fun time. I could have ended up on the news, and then the thing would have been shut down. Local boy falls off of the thing upside down. Yada 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 yada. You know what I'm saying? It was not. It was not fun. It was not fun. But yeah, it stood out in my mind. I'll tell you that much. I had a really big headache for a while afterwards. I never got back on it again for obvious reasons. And then the third. um, this might not be the expected answer, but I'm gonna have to say my third is the Ferris wheel. I didn't have a positive or a negative experience with the Ferris wheel, but I went on it on my last trip to the fair for the first time ever. So I went on it just to check it out, see, oh, okay, what's this about? And it wasn't that bad. It was okay. It was nice. You're not buckled in. You're in a little seat, and you just kind of go up and down, up and down. The only thing that made me uncomfortable was when it rocked back and forth, and when it stopped. Because when it stops, like when the ride is over, it kind of shudders. And then it shudders in a way where it looks like, or I should say, it feels like it's about to come off the hinge, and then you start rolling down the streets like they do in the movies, and then it's terrible. And the Ferris wheel always breaks, or something stupid happens on the Ferris wheel. So yeah, no. That made me nervous. But other than that, it was pretty chill. It was also a little annoying getting out because depending upon where you were when the thing stopped, meant that you would typically have to just sit there and wait for it to do another rotation before you had the opportunity to get out. I found that kind of funny, but I mean, it's a one and done kind of experience, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed looking over the horizon and seeing, look at that, look at all the trees, look at that, I see everybody. Hey, I can see my mom from up here. Woohoo! That was cool. That was cool. Now then, it is time to address my nemesis. The game, I'm going to call it a game because it's not exactly a ride, but you can ride it. But the game in which has caused me the most frustration known to man, and my mother the most financial strain known to man. But it's none other than the dreaded ladder game. If you know what I'm talking about, awesome. If you don't, let me describe it to you. Basically, your goal, as you're on the ground, is to climb a diagonal ladder and push a button. Sounds easy, right? Wrong. Because number one, you don't have support on this ladder. The only thing that's really supporting you, to my knowledge, is is nothing. Really, it's your own body weight. I mean, obviously there's like a rope, but like it's your own body weight. So you have to balance, and as you get higher and higher, you become more topsy and off balance, and then you always fall, and then it's over. And it's not like you can just get to the middle of the ladder and then jump off and push the button and you get it. No. Because I did that one year. I made it one year. But you have to hold the button for like 2 seconds to symbolize that you actually got there. You weren't just like clutch. There's like ropes down the middle of the ladder. So like it's a ladder, but then the points, so like the bottom of the ladder and the top of the ladder are the only points that are connected. So it wobbles like crazy. And the prizes, fittingly, are not that bad. They're like really, really, really big prizes. Like, I mean, maybe not like a hoverboard or something crazy, but like really big stuffed animals. And to my recollection, because I kind of gave up on this game last year, it was my last time trying, because it beat me every single year. I never ever accomplished it, and I'm not a quitter. I'll have to try again next year. I'm not a quitter, but like I need to take a break, so I stopped for 2 years now. But to my recollection, it costed somewhere again between $10 to $20. I don't remember. And every single time, man, it always got me at the end. Now, okay, to be fair though, it was $10 to $20 for like three good attempts. Three good attempts. It's like if you like took a step and you fell off, and they wouldn't. Yeah, but like they would. Yeah. So I respected the game, which is why it made it even more infuriating when I lost, because it was a worthy challenge, and yet every single time it bested me. Urgh. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. But I mean, it wasn't a bad game. Like, it was a real test of skill. It's not something that you could just do like, oh yeah, yeah, let me just go do it real quick. Like, no, you have to know how to do it. And usually speaking, the person who was like in charge of the game, they would do it for you. That's what got me. They would demonstrate how to succeed. They would be like, look, see, look, I'm gonna climb the ladder. Just do what I do. You do opposite hands, climb up the thing, and they make it look so easy. It's like, yep, see, it's just like that. And then you go up there and you fall instantly. And it's like, what? I used to think that they had counterweights in their pocket or something. Like, I just didn't understand. I just didn't understand. But, I mean, it's in the past now. And it will be in the future when I come back and I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. No, he won't. But anyway, wrapping things up, because I see that we're kind of pushing past the usual time limit for my episodes. That's okay, get used to it. I'm not going to go past 40 minutes, though, I'll tell you that much. But wrapping things up, after I failed a few times at the ladder game, usually speaking, I just kind of do, whatever anybody else wanted to do, just walk around, use the bathroom, get some more food, you know. But I'm kind of done. After the ladder game, I'm done. I'm done for the day. It's kind of the apex of where I've walked. It's the farthest point. I've seen everything. I'm done for the day. I'm all fared out. So we begin the journey back, going back through all of the fun times and the beautiful, beautiful food. The food is beautiful, and seeing all of the rides that I looked down upon earlier. Hurrying through Crime Alley because, ugh. And another thing. Ooh, it just came to me. The people, they would try to get you, right? They would stand there and they would call out to you, the individual. They would call out to you. Hey, sir, you want to come down? Yeah, better. Awesome, man. Like, you could totally, like, shoot 3 shots at the basketball. And, like, no, thank you, sir. It's like, oh, come on. I mean, like, really? Are you scared? It's like, oh, no, sir. I'm good. Oh, come on now. Come on, son. Yeah, you got to do it. And it's even worse when you have a younger sibling. Because my little brother is currently 6. And my tongue is tripping on itself. Anyway, my younger brother is currently 6. And when we went to the fair recently with him, his attention span when we went through Crime Alley was all over the place. He wanted to do every single game possible. And I saw this coming. Like, I already knew it would happen, so I was mentally prepared. But ooh-wee, it was hard. Because we would try to walk past, but then the people would start calling out, hey, little guy, you want to do something? And he'd be like, yeah, let's do it. And then my mom would be like, okay. Knowing that, it's money down the drain. Money down the drain just for a little toy that he's going to lose. It's terrible. It's hard. It's hard to escape it. I mean, me as the person that I am, knowing the system and how it works, it's hard to walk past. Not because I want to do it, but because they call out to you. And it's just so tough. It's just so tough to ignore. But after battling through Crime Alley, we go back through the bridge. And I like to take one last look at the amusement park before I leave. And just kind of like take it in, one last time. And then I cross the bridge and I go back and I buy the hat, the clothing article, whatever I save my money for. I buy it, take a picture. Ooh, I'm the coolest kid in town. Look at me. I have this hat that like two other people bought because they think it's cool like me. Because we're all cool. And then it's like, yeah! You go home. Well, I skipped a step. You walk back through and you go find your car. You got to remember where you parked. But then you get in the car and you go home and you shower and you take a look at the spoils of war. The spoils of war being whatever you bought, plus all the toys that you've accidentally accumulated going through Crime Alley. And that is a traditional day at the fair. But, I'm not finished yet. For those who remember, I mentioned at the entrance that I took a right. But there is another option that you can go. There is a left. This left is somewhere that not even my mother went. My mother, who has been going to fair ever since she was a little girl with her family, she never went left either. I never went left. We never went left until our last trip at the fair, to which I verbalized this. I was like, I've never been that way before. My mom was like, neither have I. So we went that way. And what was over there? Well, this may not be all that interesting to you, but it was interesting to me. It was kind of this old-timey kind of Little House on the Prairie, westward expansion time period kind of environment, where there were blacksmiths and there were log cabins and there were people talking about how it was growing up during the time period of pioneering and exploring the world and all that fun jazz. And it was interesting. I'm going to say that. There were some cows, so that kind of, deterred me from going any further, but there were cows. It was gardeny, naturey. It was very fun. Well, why did I save this for last? Well, I wanted to end this episode with that information because there's a lesson there. No matter how many times you do something, no matter how many times you experience the same experience, there's always more to it if you look. There's always another detail. There's always more to learn. There's always more nuance in the world around us. If we take the time to really look for it and try to understand. And that's literally the only lesson I wanted to end this with. But with that, it's time for the special fun fact of today. La, 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 la. Did you know that parthenogenesis is a process in which it's a reproduction thing, but without fertilization of the egg? And turkeys can do this whenever they want. So that's pretty cool. Turkeys can do that. I know for a fact that it's possible in other species, but I'm not going to go that far into detail about this because I don't feel like it. And it's a funny word, so giggle at that. But anyway, toodaloo, buckaroos.